All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called to order the Pittsylvania County Fire and Rescue Commission meeting Thursday, August 21st, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Located 39 Bank Street, Chatham, Virginia 24531. Second item, roll call, please.
Jimmy Atkins.
Here.
Ben Meeks.
Here.
Alan Casper.
Here.
Ward Rowland.
Here.
Tim Cassell.
Here.
Brian Shields.
Here.
Jason Lovelace.
Here.
Kermit King.
Here.
Steve Stallings.
Here.
Coleman Mayhew.
Here.
Bert Sellers.
All right, thank you. We bring us down to a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, that brings us down to item 5, any additions or revisions to the agenda. So take a moment, review the agenda. It is a bit of a lengthy one tonight, so take a look at it, and then I'll entertain a motion to accept. All right. Not hearing any revisions need to be added or additions. I'll entertain a motion to accept it as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions on the motion? Call the roll, please.
Jimmy Atkins.
Yes.
Ben Meeks.
Yes.
Alan Casper.
Yes.
Ward Rowland.
Yes.
Tim Cassell.
Yes.
Brian Shields.
Yes.
Jason Lovelace.
Yes.
Kermit King.
Yes.
Steve Stallings.
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew.
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. That brings us down to item 7, minutes approval. July 2025 minutes, as presented there in your packet. Take a few moments to look over those, and then we will entertain a motion to accept them unless there's some additions or corrections. All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes from July, if there's no corrections or additions. All right, got a motion by Mr. Sellers. Do I hear a second? All right, got a second by Mr. Cassell. Any discussions on the motion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Jimmy Atkins.
Yes.
Ben Meeks.
Yes.
Alan Casper.
Yes.
Ward Rowland.
Yes.
Tim Cassell.
Yes.
Brian Shields.
Yes.
Jason Lovelace.
Yes.
Kermit King.
Yes.
Steve Stallings.
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew.
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Brings us down to presentations. So last night we were able to attend the Pittsylvania County Fire and Rescue graduation ceremony for 38 students, which we'll talk about under new business here shortly. But Jody Cruz, which is the fire captain of Climax Fire Department, she does excellent work. She's a IT guru on everything, and she put together a video in basically a few short days, and we asked her kind of last minute, and she was able to put it together, a nice video recapping what these firefighters go through and the requirements and stuff. And we showed that last night, and a lot of people was asked to have it sent out. And so I felt it appropriate that the rest of our commissioners that weren't able to be there see it, so we can appreciate what they do and what they're put through. And also the ones watching in the audience or at home can also see it. So thank you, Jody. Jody, stand back here so everybody knows who Jody is. We appreciate her. She does a lot for the county. Thank you, Jody. We'll play the video, please. Thank you again, Jody, for putting that together. Again, like I said, we're going to talk about it more in our new businesses. But my hopes is, and I think we usually end up with 400, 500, 600 views on this live stream, that somebody at home maybe seen that and thought, wow, that looks pretty cool, or that looks pretty rewarding. I can tell you the pay sucks because we do it on a volunteer basis, but if you get the opportunity to actually make a difference in somebody's life, which starts with that training right there, that's invaluable. You can't put a price tag on it. So, I hope we caught somebody's attention. If nothing else, they appreciate what they've been through. All right, we're going to keep moving. Any other presentations, Director?
Just Jody.
Okay, good deal. Did anybody sign up for hearing of the citizens?
No, sir.
All right. Moves us down to item 10, Fire and Rescue Association reports. Chief Fowler.
Would you rather me hold off on talking about the graduation or
Yeah, let's wait to new business. Yep.
nothing else?
Thank you, sir. Next one's going to be county staff reports. Scott Hutcherson.
All right, we got a few things to discuss here. Expenditure reports. I'm not sure how many has been turned in. I know a lot have, but they have been sent out and they're due back August 20 of 25 for the fiscal year of 2025. Aid to localities funding is available. The next round is due out in September. Electric vehicle lithium-ion battery fire safety awareness course requirement. That's on the state website, VDFP website, and that's for all the firefighters in the county to take. That's a really good class. I took it early on, and it's pretty informative. We also still have SCBA fit testing available. We done HURT Monday night. The NERIS reporting system, that is going to replace the NIFRA system that we've been using forever. That's supposed to start January of 2026. Our ESO reporting will cover this requirement, and we should be seeing some training on that at any time now. January will be here before we know it, so hopefully that'll be getting to us here pretty quick. Our portable radios, the third round of purchases is underway, and we will have them ready to pass out in the October-November time frame. And if I remember right, I believe we purchase 100 of them a year. The radio system upgrade, system-wide upgrade to the radio computer equipment is underway at this time. Annual 4 for Life funding, that is also due out soon. And that's all we have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Deputy Director Hutcherson? Please make sure you get your receipts and stuff turned in to get that money for your 4 for Life and your aid to locality. It's good help there with purchases. Scott, in reference to the NEAR system, you said there would be a training put out as far as on all of that when we get that up and live and running, or when the state, I guess, gets that up and live.
Yes, sir. They're supposed to get it up and going pretty quick, but like I say, they say they're going live January 2026. Well, that's not far away.
Yeah.
So, and of course, ESO is supporting it, but the training, what it says is forthcoming, so I hope it's forthcoming pretty quick.
Okay. And with the ESO, I know in our the budget we just adopted, I say just adopted a few months ago, whatever, we had put in there to pay for where the state was going away for paying for the EMS side.
Yeah.
The fire side we've always had to pay for,
Yeah.
so nothing changes there. Is the state now changing that? Is some information put out about ESO? Does anyone on this dais know? Is the state going to pick up the ESO, paying for the ESO for the EMS, or is that still not being picked up?
I hadn't heard anything about it being picked up.
Okay.
Hopefully it would be picked up, but I haven't gotten anything or seen anything from Chris or anyone that stated that there was.
Okay. I just, like I said, I heard that, and so I was just trying to see if it was true or not, because I haven't seen it personally myself, but I'd like to look into it. I'd like to hope they pick it up.
That's right.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Deputy Director Hutcherson? Thank you, sir. We're going to move down to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? All right, here none. That brings us down to item 13A. 13A is going to be Board of Supervisors Communications. Supervisor Mr. Whittle.
I appreciate it, but I have nothing today.
Thank you, sir. Brings us down to item B. This is communications SOP. If you would all flip in your packet to the communications SOP, you'll see it there. To give you a little bit of background on this, the Fire and Rescue Association, early part of 2025 this year, started strategic planning, trying to improve our system as a whole. And with that, they formed some committees to look at different things that either A, needed to be revised in SOP, or either B, needed to be implemented. This was one of them. Radio communications was, as far as how we identify in the county and the way we call sign the vehicles, and, you know, kind of overhauled the system there a little bit. So this was presented, I guess it was a month or two ago, by the committee. I had the privilege of sitting on the committee. There were several chiefs in the county, chiefs and captains, that got to sit on this committee. And they presented it to the Fire and Rescue Association, which it was accepted. So now it's come to this dais to let you guys kind of look at it, make sure everybody's comfortable with it, and then we'll be able to make a motion to accept it. Or we can send it back if you see something that needs to be revised. After that, then Chris and Scott will be able to send it out as one of the county's adopted SOPs. So if you look here, this will be SOG number 16, again, it's radio communications. And the purpose is to establish a standardized system for assigning and using ambulance call signs to ensure effective radio communications and operational coordination during fire and EMS responses. And this would, I'm going to hit the highlights, this would apply to all fire and rescue agencies within the county, volunteer and career, so public safety as well. And basically what the goal was here was to go away from calling our ambulances rescue, because you had some trucks saying medic, some trucks saying rescue, but when you are in the heat of the moment at a bad, let's say, accident scene, I know there was one today on 29, it's life or death minutes matter. And so let's say an ambulance marks en route, you know, rescue 222 or whatever is en route. Well, it's imperative that whoever's command of that scene knows, do I have a medic level truck coming? Not only is it imperative for them to know because of the patient's life, they need to get ALS headed that way. Also, it doesn't tie up and move resources in our county that's already stretched thin out of position, because we now are going to send a medic truck, a county truck, when you have a medic already on the ambulance and marked en route. But if nobody says that over the radio, nobody knew that. So that's where we identified a pretty big problem, and we fixed that hopefully with this policy. So now every truck in the county, public safety and volunteer, should be calling their units. If it is a medic on the truck, which would an I or a P, so let me rephrase that, an intermediate or paramedic, they should be marking their truck en route as medic level. So when I marked en route, for example, at Groton, if we had a paramedic or an intermediate, it would be medic 222. If it is a BLS truck, which means it has just an EMT basic provider, then they would mark that truck transport 222. If it was an advanced level truck, and the reason we separated that from your transport is because an advanced honestly can handle about 90% of calls that come out. They really can. They can start IVs, they can push fluids, they can give meds, other than pretty much cardiac meds and a couple of your narcotics they can't give. The rest of it they can give. So it's important to know that as well. So if it's an advanced level on the truck and they mark en route, then it would be advanced 222. Is everybody good with that and understand that? Any questions, y'all just stop me. Same deal for the fire trucks. We had already pretty much been doing this. I'm telling you, it's freezing in here. I'm shivering. This air is freezing me. We've been doing this already for the fire trucks pretty much, but we wanted to make sure that it is understood across the board, you know, that you are calling the truck by its correct call sign of what it is, not just a 3-digit number. And what I mean by that, let's say Dean's out with a major brush fire, and he says, you know, 3401 to CCOM, can you tell me how many brush trucks I got on the road? Well, we have a few dispatchers in this county that work at dispatch and they volunteer. So they know most of the, mostly across the county, they know what the brush trucks are. But let's say it's a dispatcher that doesn't volunteer. It's not their job to know that 225 is a brush truck unless we tell them it's a brush truck. They just know that we marked it en route and we're en route with a piece of apparatus. So we need to make sure we're specifying, and so we just spelled that out in policy, brush 225 is en route, brush 315 is en route, brush 345 or whatever they call it, so that it's spelled out in there that you know what you have coming. That way when I say 2201 to CCOM, how many brush trucks I got coming? Okay, you got 3 brush trucks coming. Then I can kind of know, again, we're not moving equipment out of position. There's no need sending 25 pieces of apparatus that can't even make it back there. If they got to sit on the road, they're no good, depending on which situation you got. So that was kind of the driving force behind that. And then a few other things as far as for the folks that have like command vehicles, as far as, that would still fall under Command 34, Command 22, or, EMS would be EMS 12, EMS 13, such and such, if they have your command staff on them responding. And then your utilities, which is your QRVs, several stations now have those, and they do come in handy. That would be utility, whatever the number your station is. So pretty set, straightforward, but we just wanted to make sure we streamlined it and that everybody understood. And again, nobody has to go out and change anything on the trucks. This is just communication over the radio. That's all this is. And then it just gives you the examples, training and compliance, radio usage protocol, and then review and update. And basically it just says that this policy will be reviewed on a regular basis if there's new stations opening or closed, changes in unit designations, or upgrades in the radio system. So is there any questions or comments on this before we take a motion to accept this? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve this SOG and send it forward.
So
Make a
moved.
motion as written.
Okay. Who made that motion? Was that Mr. Shields? Okay. And had Alan, you second? Okay. All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, call the roll, please.
Jimmy Atkins.
Yes.
Ben Meeks.
Yes.
Alan Casper.
Yes.
Ward Rowland. Tim Cassell. Brian Shields.
Yes.
Jason Lovelace.
Yes.
Kermit King.
Yes.
Steve Stallings.
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew.
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. That is now approved. That brings us down to 13C, Tanker Task Force. Again, this will be an SOP. If you would look back again to the next policy in your booklet here, or in your packet, I'm sorry, that is a Tanker Task Force. Now, I think it goes without saying, we do a pretty good job in this county because we are a rural county. For the most part, there's only a few stations that have hydrants, so most of us is used to having to have tankers, and in fact, I think every department in this county, or I know, has a tanker. We're just used to that, rural water type operations. But we wanted to have something on paper that can kind of spell it out, not only for us, but also to help with dispatch, knowing when we say, go ahead and activate a tanker task force, then I don't have to sit and go, well, give me the next 3 stations that's in, or give me this one or give me that one. They can go off the SOP and just know what the tanker task force means. So this, again, was adopted by the association. The committee, working with the strategic planning, submitted this, and after many months of working on it. So it's to establish a standardized procedure for activation, response, operation, and demobilization of a tanker task force during fire-ground operations in areas lacking an adequate pressurized water supply. This, again, would apply to all fire departments within the county. And it gives you the definitions here of which would be in it, the meat and potatoes of the activation. So if an IC gets there and deems they need a tanker task force, so i.e. right now they page out 2 departments for brush fires in this county. Grutland and Renan gets on a big fire and we see, hey, this is, it's walking fast. We're going to have a lot of water. CCOM, go ahead and activate the tanker task force. Takes the guess game out of it. Well, give me 29 or give me 31 or give me the next 3. Just activate the tanker task force. And then we know they'll start paging those next three departments, four departments. We did designate, that a tanker is a minimum 2,000 gallons. So, we have to set some standards somewhere. So basically, 2,000 gallons is the smallest, truck. Now, again, that doesn't mean, if you can get your tanker on the road and then you want to go ahead and put something else behind it, by all means, send it. But we are trying to make sure we're getting tankers 2,000 gallons or bigger en route to haul that water. So the incident commander will ask for the tanker task force to be dispatched. They will dispatch it out. You're going to get 4 tankers with a minimum 2,000 gallon capacity each, 1 field site engine assigned by IC, and 1 tanker task force leader, which would be an officer or a senior firefighter. Again, that would still be the whoever's in command of the scene. That's where they're going to have to say, if Dean's in command, he's going to have to say, 2301, you're going to be in charge of water supply. We already do that now, but we're just kind of putting it into writing to make sure everybody understands it. And, I'm just throwing an example out there. Then Jacob would, if 2301, he would go and oversee that our tankers are shuttling correctly. And then support vehicles as necessary. It talks about the response protocol. So again, they would respond, lights and sirens, obviously, unless otherwise deemed by command not to. The tanker task force leader would report to IC for assignment and coordination, and then all the apparatus will check in with staging or accountability. And it just goes further to discuss dump site operations, field site operations, communication, safety, and demobilization, and then training and drills. It is kind of a goal of ours to continue and to start countywide training with all our agencies more and more. A lot of them do good with that now, but trying to get everybody involved of working together, so we're making sure we're perfecting these SOPs as best we can. Is there any questions or concerns or comments on the tanker task force policy?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Some stations don't have 2,000 gallon tankers, they got 1,500. But they just leave tankers in the station or what?
So, how many, the committee went through and looked, and I'm drawing a blank, Tim, how many, Chief Fowler, do you remember how many tankers? 3? So it's 3 stations in the county that have less than 2,000 gallons. Again, the committee recommended it, the association voted on it. Basically, the way I look at it though, Tim, and I think we all agree, we still want you to send your tanker. Don't just leave it sitting parked. Bring it on. This is kind of a goal of going forward. When people buy new tankers, it's encouragement that we need to buy 2,000 gallons or bigger, just because some of the rural areas that we get out here, water sources may be hard to get by. So that extra 500 gallons, as you know, could be a make or break. But I 100% agree. I'm not going to bypass you to go to somebody further away to get 500 more gallons. So it still sends your truck. Nothing will change in that aspect. It was just we needed to decide, what is a tanker truly going to consist of? It needs to be a standard. And that, right. So that's kind of the, yeah. And like I said, it's 3 departments, so most of the agencies, this wouldn't even, be a thought for you. But for those 3, yes, we're not saying y'all can't respond 100%. Please send your tanker. So.
This is over and above the 4 companies that respond to a structure fire.
Right.
So they're going to roll everything they got that they're going to respond to a structure fire. This is over and above. And where that came from was the last 3 studies in the NFPA standard that a tanker is 2,100 gallons or more. We went with 2,000 because we got 4 in the county that's 2,000, not 2,100.
Yeah, and I gave y'all an example, but thank you, Chief Fowler, of a brush fire, but your structure fire even more important. If you got a structure fire, like Dean said, you're still going to get your 4 stations. So whoever is the first due, and then the 3 closest, that's not going to change. They send their house of whatever they need to send. IC gets there, if those 4 can handle, you move on with life. But if it's a great big house or whatever, got some accelerants, whatever the case, and you're going to need more water, this gives you an option to go ahead, hey, CCOM, go ahead and dispatch the tanker task force. And then they got it coming, and we looked at it as 4 trucks too many. So you got, let's say a structure fire, you got 4 departments there, and now you're gonna add 4 more. Is that too much? But in this case, again, we go back to that water can be life or death sometimes, especially if you got a fast-moving brush fire or whatever be the case. We looked at it as I'd rather have them coming, and if we don't need them, we can turn them around. So, good questions. Any other questions, comments, or concerns on the policy?
Well, it takes the guesswork out of it for the incident commander also.
Yep.
If he says activate, he knows he's got at least 8,000 gallons of water coming.
Yeah. And that was the thing, is we're trying to take, I mean, just about everybody up here has been in a command role before, and y'all realize, when this stuff's hitting the fan, you're in that position as a senior person because you're supposed to be able to think a little bit more calmly, but everybody gets a little excited. This just takes some guesswork out. So, all right. Any other comments before we take a vote on it? All right. Hear none, I'll entertain a motion to approve this SOP.
So move.
Got a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Who was that? Who was my second? Was it you, Alan? Okay, sorry. All right, thank you. I swear I done frozen here. I'm a piece of ice up here. All right, so we got a motion and a second to approve the policy as written. Any other further questions? Hear none, call the roll, please.
Jimmy Atkins,
Yes.
Ben Meeks,
Yes.
Alan Casper,
Yes.
Ward Rowland,
Yes.
Tim Cassell,
Yes.
Brian Shields,
Yes.
Jason Lovelace,
Yes.
Kermit King,
Yes.
Steve Stallings,
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew,
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That motion carries. That brings us down to 13D, electric vehicle fires SOPs. Now, this one has not been generated yet, gentlemen. I just wanted to put this on the horizon, and my goal tonight was just informational purposes and to ask the association to go ahead and to put this in a policy. We probably don't see it a lot yet, but the electric vehicles is growing rapidly in our state and around the country. And those fires, all those studies have been shown, actually, as far as catching on fire initially, is some studies show is less than your normal combustible engines. However, when they do catch on fire, you can't put them out like a combustible engine. You can put that out with, 500 gallons or 1,000 gallons of water if you know what you're doing, whereas an electric vehicle can take you several thousands of gallons of water, and you still may be fighting that fire later. As Scott alluded to earlier, all firefighters in the state of Virginia are required and should be, and if you are a leader at one of your stations or you're listening, make sure your people are doing it because it can affect your ATL funding. But they need to take that class. It is a very, very informational class. Yes, it's almost 3 hours long and it's computer-based, so sometimes it makes you want to pull your hair out. But I took it myself a while back, a very informational base, and it opened my eyes on we need to just make sure we have a policy and some understanding there when an electrical vehicle fire happens. Just for some numbers, in the state of Virginia, last year there were 232 electrical vehicle fires or EV fires, which is a 77% increase compared to previous years. And again, that's going to continue to go up because they're more and more popular. Also with that, it goes on to say they do remain relatively rare compared to your regular internal combustion engines. But again, they can be very much harder, and you'll learn in that training if you haven't took it yet. These vehicles, let's say, have been extinguished on the scene. They've loaded onto the rollback. 30 minutes to an hour later, they're catching on fire again, sitting in the yard of the towing company and burning up whole yards of cars. So that's why it gives you a lot of recommendations that you should put in the policy of how you're going to, some departments are going as far as in other localities is you'll actually escort the truck back to you'll stay with it for an hour and then escort it back to its yard to make sure it don't catch on fire. I'm not saying we go that far. I'm just saying something needs to be talked about and put into place there. So Chief Fowler, if you could take that back to your folks, and they'll do a good job putting together something. And anybody on this committee that would like to add to that, please, put forth. Because I do know they are making more EV nozzles. I know Renan got one recently, and some other stations maybe have. And those nozzles are very nice. They can, a lot of your batteries, for instance, on your Teslas, they are underneath the vehicle. And so unless you can get completely underneath the vehicle and put copious amounts of water for quite a while, which is harder to do with just a regular hand line, somebody holding it, then you need a special type nozzle, which they have. You can just roll it under there, and it goes straight up on it, and it keeps the batteries cool, and you don't get that thermal runaway. So things like that we just need to focus on.
You know, Ben, that ties back into the tanker task force thing, because with practicing and working with that nozzle, it likes water.
Yeah.
And, for EV fire, those nozzles are effective. We practiced with it, and I like it a lot, but you're going to need a lot of water. So
Yeah.
it does. It ties in with that tanker task force really well.
Yeah. Do you remember the purchase price on that piece of equipment?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, if you find out, you or
I
Cole,
will.
either one, find out, just let
We'll
us
let
know.
you know.
Yeah. All right, any other discussion on that? Chief Fowler's going to take that back to the association, and I'm sure they'll have a good policy in a few months for us to look at.
Chairman, we do keep in mind that we do have, I believe it's 4 electric buses in the Pennsylvania County school system.
Yep.
I know it's 2, but I think it's 4 now, and they charge right there at the bus garage, right on the backside of the bus garage. Whole lot of times, if you have a problem, that's where you have it. So if you get called to the bus garage one night for a glow in the sky, that might be what it is.
Yeah.
So just be
And
mindful.
Scott, his previous employer, he got a really good working relationship. He actually worked out for several of us in the county to take a class for those electric school buses up at Sunny Merriman, and they put on a very nice class for us, and we probably need to see if we can get some more folks to take that. It opened my eyes. One of those buses catches on fire. If those batteries have basically ran away, you're not going to put it out. I mean, you just, 20,000 gallons of water might touch it. I don't know, but yeah. So it's kind of eye-opening. Technology's great, but when it fails bad. So, all right, moving on to item E, solar farms training. This is just kind of a catch-all. I realize that our county has got a great number of solar farms in it. Gretna, we've been unfortunate to have to respond to 3 so far. I do know the solar farms we've responded to, it was supposed to be per their special use permits, and my understanding that those farms are being kept up with as far as road maintenance, mowing, accessibility. A lot of that still doesn't seem to be happening. Also, furthermore, it was under my understanding that they would be required to provide training for our first responders on a yearly basis, or at least offer it. So you take the pipeline, Williams Pipeline, that comes through our county and covers a great number of it. I know at Gretna because I get the mail and talk to them. Every year they send us training materials. They reach out. They put on a forum not too long ago down here in Chatham, and they'll come out and teach classes and give you all kinds of information. Maybe we could just, and I don't know if maybe we can get Scott or Chris to reach out to them, but kind of poke that bear a little bit to make sure they're working with us. I mean, the biggest thing, I get it. If they're on fire inside the fence and it's not threatening anything outside the fence, we're going to sit there and watch it burn. But Joe Blow and the public is not educated on that, and it's not their fault. They don't know that. It looks like we're not doing anything, but let's say there is a life threat inside, then we got to try to do something. We need to be able to make sure we can access it safely and know what we're dealing with so we don't go in there and get killed. So we need to push that, and if it's not being honored, then I need the board and the county to help us figure out how we enforce those special use permits. So, Scott, you got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's several of them going in the county right now, and we try to push them to have a good marked address. So in other words, you ain't riding down the road looking at a chain link fence. You need an address for each one. Yeah. We push for that. And there's several other things, you know, we need a contact number, somebody you can get in the middle of the night if you have a situation. But you do have to push for that stuff.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not pointing fingers at any one solar farm. I just know what I've dealt with personally. It took us 3 hours to literally pressure wash all the mud off the trucks on the last solar farm fire we had. It was a large, basically battery box, if you want to call it. It's the size of a Connex box. And the guy told me, he said, yeah, it was a couple $1 million. We got to replace it. But it caught on fire. And when we responded down in there, obviously, we had to have them go and isolate the power. So it was kind of a waiting game trying to figure out who was going to do that and get them out there. And then, so this thing's just burning to the ground, and we're just staying back away from it. But, you know, when we finally were able to, we had to go ahead and put it out. And again, you're dealing with batteries, so it took a lot of water, and all of my trucks was completely covered in mud because the road was no good. And that's just not really acceptable, in my opinion, if we're going to try to protect these facilities. So that's all I have on that. Any other discussion on that? If not, I'm just going to ask Scott if you please can maybe follow up, and any feedback you can give us next month would be great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right, next item is item F, fire billing. So I was not able to be at the last meeting, but I did watch you guys from the beach, and I apologize, but I was sitting on the beach on vacation. But there was some conversations had at the last meeting about the fire billing, and there were some legitimate concerns. So the committee met, which is made up of folks from this body, the Public Safety Administration, and then the Fire and Rescue Association. And what we agreed on was to continue with that committee, along with sending it back to the association to continue to research this. There needs to be more research and thought put into it for now. I do know Director Hutcherson has reached out to Tim Duffer, and congratulations to him. Those don't know, he's now the Public Safety Director of Henry County. He retired from Danville City Fire Department, and he used to sit on this commission. And he's going to reach out and talk to us about what they're doing and give us some information. And as far as the association, they're going to go back and look at some things. And so for now, this issue will just be tabled, and you know, hopefully revisit it sooner than later, but for now, just be tabled. All right? Item G, secondary EMS calls. So this is something that has been discussed for a long time. I say a long time, in several meetings, probably all over the county. But we haven't really addressed that elephant in the room. And what I'm going to say here, and Chief Fowler and anybody else up here that does this in a day in, day out basis, right now we have a precedent set in the county that actually discourages you from running mutual aid EMS calls. And what I mean by that is, for example, let's just say, I'm going to use my station because they're the easiest for me to think of. Medic 1, they run a lot of calls up there. They get a lot of calls. Those guys get their tails handed to them, but they do a good job of what they got. Well, let's say they're out on a call, and another call comes out in a town of hurt. The next station closest is Grutno that's going to get dispatched. My ambulance is going to respond, because we send a truck. If we're in service, we send a truck. But we're going to respond, and when we respond, let's say somebody in the town of Grutno now, or in our first due, and this happens all the time, they have an emergency, and they call 911. Okay, my truck's already going to back up the county, and they back us up, that's fine. But what happens is, if I don't cover that call because my truck's already on another call and it gets turned over to another agency after the 6-minute mark, which it should, we shouldn't delay care. But then it goes against me on the statistics that you guys see each week, and it affects my funding at the end of the year if we are below that benchmark. And that is discouraging our agencies to run mutual aid. And it's unfair, and it's been pointed out numerous times by the fire and rescue studies that it should be taken out. And so I'm here tonight to bring it up, and I'm going to make a motion, once we discuss it, to do away with it, because it's not fair to our departments in this county, and it would encourage more folks to try to come out and help run those mutual aid calls. We're not cherry picking. I know that years ago somebody said we're not cherry picking calls, but we've got to take care of our community, our primary community. And if we're going to get dinged for going to help with this community, then you're kind of saying, what are we doing? You know, this is ridiculous. So that's my take on it. Chief Fowler, anybody on this dais, the floor is open.
Well, I think we should probably revisit the entire policy of how we, because it does affect your funding. And so that is a legitimate concern. I think we should, revisit the entire policy as to how, we keep those records, what constitutes coverage, what doesn't constitute coverage. And that way to put it on a, just so that, like I said, you can look at it and say, here it is in black and white. This is what, this is how things are done. So I think it'd be a good idea to, look at that. And because right now, sometimes it's a little ambiguous how it's counted and how it's not. So I think it'd be a good idea.
Well, I think on it, who's really suffering out of it is the people.
Yep.
Because you take a second due, and your second due, your people's going, I need somebody, and the first one's already tied up, and the second one's going, if we cover this and we have a call come out, that we're not covering our community, and I agree with you 100%, Alan, but it's got to be documented so we know who's covering it and who's not covering their calls, because you'll have some agencies that just could cherry pick, not saying they will, say, well, I don't, that's going to be a tough call, I don't want it. So that way we make it fair across the board to everybody, every agency, and the first call comes out, and it backs up to the second one, but somewhere along the line, somebody's got to document it, that call was put over, and their call was covered because they was on another call. So, yeah. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I don't know about the very first study. I was a little bit younger then, but the last two I've been around in, and was very much involved in the last one. And it was clearly spelled out that should be discontinued immediately. They said, why are you doing it that way? And we said, well, it's just the way we do it. And they said, and these guys go all over. And they were from like Pennsylvania. They go all over the country. And they said, you should stop doing that because it doesn't have a purpose. It's discouraging agencies from taking mutual aid calls. So
You have here EMS. Isn't that policy for all the fire and rescue, that if you don't cover your calls,
you're correct, Colin, yes. So let's say
So,
Renan's on a fire and y'all get a second call. Just say you go mutual aid to Gretna to help me with a structure fire, and you get another call in Renan, and you don't get a fire truck out the door because all your trucks are tied up in Gretna. That technically is going to go against your statistics.
well,
as
I
well.
mean, I'm just,
So
you
you're right.
get called out EMS, and
Yeah.
Alan Casper, he mentioned that as well. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're going to look at, I think that policy should be encompassing
Yeah.
all of it. So.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think across the board, we don't need to, we still got to track the calls to make sure we know who's running the calls, and that's not going to change. You still can know who's running the calls, but I think the policy language of it will go against you because you dropped, quote unquote, the call, but you were already on a call. So I don't really know how you can drop a call if you're already tied up on a call. I can't be two people at one time. Nobody can. So that's needs to be revised. And I came with the all-the-purpose tenses tonight to make a motion to change it because I'm passionate about it. But, I will respect this commission if we want to send it and get the association to give us their opinion on it. And then we collectively as a body, the commission and the association, along with Chris and Scott, review the policy and, I try to come up with something to change. But what I don't want to happen is it can get kicked down the road for another 6 months because it's not fair to the agencies in this county. None of them.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I think that, I think a lot of people that sit on this commission that are actively involved in answering the calls probably realize that there's more of a problem than people sitting on the commission that are not answering calls. So I think what Alan has suggested, I think we would have to start there to be fair across the board for the commission, to be fair across the board for the fire and EMS people, and to be fair across the board for the citizens of the county, to make sure that in all cases, as a commission, we are trying to make sure that those calls are answered in the best possible way that they can be.
Agree with that. That's a good statement. All right. Well, I will, I'm going to make a motion so that it's at least in the minutes that this be sent to the association to discuss at their next month's meeting, and then to provide feedback as soon as they're able to come up with their suggestions, because they are the ones running the calls, those folks involved, along with Chris and Scott in his office.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, how about, maybe we could look at our SOP that clearly defines it and just, takes all the guesswork out of it. Let's, just have a clearly defined definition. That might help us. What do you think? I mean, we can come up with that between us and the association, and sort of like we did on these others right here.
Right. Chief Alley, does that sound like that's doable? All right, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll retract, because I don't want to tie y'all's time over. I know people's time is valuable. I'll retract my motion, and I'm going to request the chief take that back to the association for an SOP, and I'll also go to those meetings, so I'll make sure that they understand that we need to get on that. So thank y'all. Appreciate you. Any more discussion on that topic before we move on?
I think that's a great idea, because a clearly defined SOP, as Scott said, will take all the guesswork out of it and solves the problem.
Yep, I like that. Thank you, Scott.
So I say we'll get to review the policy during that SOP.
That's right.
Yeah, so you kind of cover it all at one time.
All right, good deal. All right, moving along to graduation ceremonies. So I'm going to open the floor up to Chief Fowler. He's passing the buck back to me. So last night, myself, as well as 4 others from this commission, Chief Fowler, Mary Woodle, Robert Tucker, and Kim Bowman attended the Fire and Rescue graduation, as well as Scott and several of his staff. Again, I will allude to, we had 38 graduates, and that's amazing, guys. That graduated either Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, or EMT, or Advanced EMT.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
it was 61.
61? Okay, I don't know where I got my number 38 at, so that's even better then. 61. I thought I read a lot of names last night. I got to read the names, so they got to shake your hands. I had to read the names. But no, I really appreciate the effort that was put in to make that graduation successful, and I think it was really good. This body last year asked to have that put in as a part of the budget, and the county supported it this year, and I appreciate the Board of Supervisors for doing that, showing their support, not only, putting a little bit of money just to get the refreshments and stuff, but also actually showing up. That meant the most, and speaking and shaking the hands of all these folks. A Firefighter 1 class is 186 hours, EMT class is 166 hours plus clinicals, and you've seen the videos of what these folks had to go through, and then their families. A lot of them got to bring their families and take pictures, and it was just a really fun night, and I really appreciate what we've got going in this county. One of the chiefs last night spoke, and he said, you always hear volunteering is dying all over the country. That's what you hear. That's what you hear. And we even said it in here, and sometimes we beat that horse, and it is true to a degree in some things, but I would argue the different, and it's his words, I'm paraphrasing, but I agree 100%. But I would argue against that, because we graduated 60-some last night, and last year we did about the same amount. And so I think this county has got a plethora of good quality providers, firefighters. We just got to continue to tap into that and help them manage, and I think we've got a good thing going. Chief, you want to add anything to that? Director Hutchinson?
No, sir. Good.
All right. Thank y'all. Again, appreciate the commissioners that got to come to that last night. All right, brings us down to item I, response coverage stats. Scott Hutchinson.
Yes, sir. If you look over on your next page, we've got a copy of our primary EMS responses for the week of August the 7th through the 13th. And then on the second page, you know, we got July 31st through August the 6th. And it goes on right there. You're free to look at them. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Your primary fire responses is the last page in that section. Last 2 pages.
And for those at home that aren't able to see these, just basically to give you a short feedback, we only have one fire department that's fallen below the 70% kind of cutoff, where we want to see our agencies try to maintain, you know, that or higher, obviously. And we've only got one EMS agency, and they're close. They're right there every week trying to make things better. So I think out of 21 agencies, and if you include the out-of-county agencies, Danville Life Saving Crew, North Halifax, their numbers look good. That it supports this county as well. That puts you at 23 agencies. I think it's pretty impressive, the numbers, and always room for improvement, but I like to praise in public when we can. Any questions for the director on the call stats? All right, hearing none, that brings us down to item 14. This will be a closed session. And this will be closed session performances of mutual aid departments, Virginia Code 2.23711A1. And I'm going to turn it over to Scott Hutchinson for this part.
All right, Chairman, I'm going to read this resolution here. All right, I'm reading the summary. I'm wrong. The Virginia Code legally allows public bodies to enter closed session for the protection of the privacy of individuals and personal matters not related to public business. Accordingly, the following closed session is proposed. Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1, the subject matter mutual aid responses, purpose is discussion and evaluation of performance of departments. Recommendation, staff recommend the FRC enter closed session on the above. And I make a motion to enter closed session on the above.
Okay. Do I hear a second on the motion?
Second.
All right, second by Alan Casper. Any discussion on the motion? Before we take the vote, just for the audience, we will have to obviously retire back to the room back here for closed session. Hopefully this won't take too long, and we'll come back out and read out a closed session and then close out the meeting. So if you'd like to stay, that you can. If not, you can catch us on Facebook. So I got a motion and a second. Take a vote to approve this. So call a roll, please.
Jimmy Atkins.
Yes.
Ben Meeks.
Yes.
Alan Casper.
Yes.
Ward Rowland.
Yes.
Tim Cassell.
Yes.
Brian Shields.
Yes.
Jason Lovelace.
Yes.
Kermit King.
Yes.
Steve Stallings.
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew.
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
All right, gentlemen. Scott, are we good to go back here to this room? All right, we'll retire back here to the
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come out of closed session now. Deputy Director Hutcherson, if you could read us out of closed session.
Okay, be it resolved that the meeting of the Pennsylvania County Fire and Rescue Commission on August 21st, 2025, the commission hereby certifies by a recorded vote that to the best of each commissioner's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. If any commissioner believes that there was a departure from the requirements of the act, he shall so state prior to the vote indicating the substance of the departure. The statement shall be recorded in the commission minutes.
All right, and then we got to have a vote, correct? Okay, if you call the roll, please.
Jimmy Atkins,
Yes.
Ben Meeks,
Yes.
Alan Casper,
Yes.
Ward Rowland,
Yes.
Tim Cassell,
Yes.
Brian Shields,
Yes.
Jason Lovelace,
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew,
Yes.
Kermit King,
Yes.
Steve Stallings,
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that, gentlemen. All right, that's going to bring us down to 16 other matters from the commissioners. I'm going to start over to my left. Director Scott Hutchison.
No, sir, I'm good.
All right. Ms. Caldwell, you got anything for us?
Good.
We appreciate you always supporting us. Mr. Rowland. Mr. Stallings.
I'm good.
All right, Mr. Shields.
Just a couple items. One, to make sure the Chief Key knows that we thinking about him, praying for him, and looking forward to him coming back. I'd just like to mention from this body, special thanks to Sheriff Taylor, to all of the men and women in law enforcement that responded to the call this past week or last week, and to all the fire and EMS people that responded, staged, to the people that brought food, for the prayers that were uttered, to the dispatchers that sat there behind a mic and on their phone, and the stress level had to be unimaginable. I just want to say thank you to everybody that played a part in that. And for those that were responsible for the award ceremony last night, much appreciated, much impressive to the men and women that received the accomplishments. That's a great success. But to the men and women that spent the time of teaching, that's a lot of time and a lot of work. And so I just want to say thank you to all of those, all the organizations that participated in it. And to the men and women, the volunteers across this county, public safety, to our dispatchers, we notice it every day, the work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Agree with all of that. All right, Jason Lovelace.
So I think that we spoke a while back about, it may not have been in here, about recruitment. I talked with Jonathan Parker, he's with Parker Productions.
I think here you home.
How about that? Is that better?
There you go.
So I talked with Jonathan Parker with Parker Productions. He's done some videos for the county. I don't know if we want to look at doing recruitment. Since we've just had the graduation, we're making use some of, Jody's video in that and put together something just to try to recruit for volunteers. If you're interested or anybody's interested in that, I'm happy to try to reach out to him, maybe get him to come, or I can put some links together with his stuff that he's actually made, his productions, and provide it to everyone in the next meeting, if y'all want to do that. If you don't, that's okay too. Just trying to do something with recruitment.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea. Any idea is good, so bring it on.
All right.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cassell.
No, I don't have it.
All right, Coleman Mayhew.
I don't have.
Chief Fowler.
Just want to say thank you to the commission for showing up last night. Thank you for the support you give us. Thank you to the supervisors I told them last night, they funded these classes, put the funds in the budget, and allowed us to do them, and it's paying dividends. And the other side of the coin, it's improving the service levels that we're giving to the citizens in the county, and also it's protecting our people. And the other thing I wanted to say, keep the responders in mind. There's been some pretty significant calls over the last 2 or 3 weeks that some folks had some real tough times with. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Thank you, sir. All right, Supervisor Whittle.
Yeah, I'd like just, my congratulations out to all the new recruits that y'all got in and the trainers that did the job that they did to get them up on board. And I appreciate this commission right here, and also just keep Lee Vogler in your prayers. He needs to be. He needs them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Casper.
I'd just like to take a moment to thank all of y'all, our fellow commissioners, because last meeting I had some concerns, and I did my due diligence, and I talked to commissioners, and I got the information I needed, and because of my fellow commissioners providing me with the information I needed, I'm a lot more comfortable with things than I was last meeting. So just thank y'all. I appreciate you working with me, because, if I have concerns, I don't hesitate to ask. So thank y'all.
Thank you. Mr. Sellers. All right. Mr. Jimmy Atkins.
I'd like to go one step further than what Chief Fowler said and Mary Whittle. Thank you to the host stations for the firefighter training. That's a big undertaking. Somebody has to clean it up, and somebody has to stock your toilet paper. And to the instructors, that was a lot of time, and it was mentioned last night at the ceremony. All of this time is away from your families, and they do a heck of a job to do what they do. And just thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Vice Chair King.
Yes, like I said, I can't repeat much that hadn't already been said, but like I said, keep all the volunteers and everybody in your prayers. Congratulations to the graduates that come out, and thank you to all the instructors that, like I said, that took that time out to help our county get some highly qualified and trained people. But also, like I said, we need to keep our law enforcement, our deputies, our dispatchers, all the volunteers that went on some of these terrifying calls. Like I said, we've had a bunch of them. Station 34 had an incident today that could have turned out really bad. But like I said, that just shows the quality of the training that we have in this county. But like I said, keep your dispatchers and your deputies in your prayers right now. And like I said, thank you to the supervisors for always kind of backing us up and helping us with all our projects that we got going on.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Like Alan said, I'm going to start off thanking the commission. We had a really long agenda tonight, and we're going to get out of here in about 2 hours' time, which I think is pretty impressive. It's quicker than I thought we'd do it. And I feel like we accomplished a few things at this meeting, and we got some paths forward. I want to say thank you to Chief Fowler and the association. That guy right there does a lot for this county that people don't know. And the association, the fellows and ladies that participate in that, they're impressive. I said it earlier, and I truly mean it. I think we have some of the best fire and rescue personnel around. Just because you don't make a paycheck every day for it, that don't mean nothing. It's all about in your heart. If you take it serious, get your training and do what you're supposed to do. But we're lucky. We've got a lot of career firemen and career EMS that volunteer as well, and that just helps even more. So thank you to the volunteers. Thank you to the public safety staff. Scott has been doing a tremendous job since Chris has been out. Chris is still staying in contact, emails, stuff like that. I've reached out to him a couple of times, checking on him, and I think he's trying to heal up quick as he can. But Scott, you're doing a good job, and Scott was able last night to get the refreshments, and he had KCC come out and some of the staff and help put that together with me and Chief Fowler and several others. There was a lot of hands that went into that. Jody Cruz, Amber Short let us use her equipment. The school system let us use the school building. As Chief Fowler said, the Board of Supervisors supported all of that through funding for the classes and whatnot. So just appreciate everybody that had a part in that. And thank you to the commissioners that were able to make it. That means something to those folks that get to put faces with the names and know we're here supporting them. Run down my list real quick. First thing I want to talk about is mental health. Mental health matters, and we not only, statistically speaking, as a county, but as a state and a nation, have a mental health crisis. It's a hard cookie to crumble, basically. It's hard to have all the answers for it and have enough resources to combat it. I take the incident with the shooting where the officers were injured. Thank God nobody was killed. I think the county administrator said it best the other day, and one of the board of supervisors, although it was tragic and sad and bad, and all the above, we could have been going to 3 funerals this week, and that could be the alternative. So for the incident that happened itself, I think it went tremendous as far as response. I know everybody in this room seen it. I got the little app on my phone that lets me listen to the calls and stuff, and that app usually averages about 30 or 40 people on it. During peak hours at nighttime, you might have 10 or 15. I looked on it. I was at work, and where I work at, we're not allowed to have our cell phones in the facility, and someone called me and told me what was happening, and I went out to my phone to check it, and I pulled that app up to listen, and it was over 6,000 people listening when I looked at it. And then all over Facebook, these agencies from all over the Commonwealth was responding. And so that was impressive to see the backing of the brothers and sisters, as we always say that. And then in fire and rescue response, I think everybody involved, not just my agency, but public safety, Hurt Fire Department, Gretna Fire and Rescue, Chatham's Rescue stepped up, Blair's, several departments, Climax, several departments either was reaching out, offering services, or went ahead and sent, folks to A, back us up, because we had everything in the building up there, and then B, we still had regular 911 calls going on while this was happening. They don't stop. People still have emergencies. So I think it was impressive, and I want to shout out for a moment Ryan Cruz was the IC commander for the fire and rescue, and for those that don't know Ryan, he's a very, very strong part of our public safety system in this county, and one individual, I'm not going to say makes or breaks it, but he would in my department. He's one of them that really steps up and goes above and beyond the call, and he done amazing with what he had to deal with that call. And then obviously the sheriff's department, Sheriff Taylor and his guys and girls, so fortunate that we're not attending funerals this week, and we just continue to pray for those folks. They had a traumatic incident that a lot of them will have to live with the rest of their life, and I can't imagine. I've never been in that situation, so I don't know how I would feel, but if somebody's trying to take my life, that's a bad deal. So continue prayers for them. And again, back to when I started, the mental health crisis. We don't know what led up to that day, but something somewhere went astray, and that's where we ended up. I say all that to anybody that's struggling out there. Reach out. Obviously, your family, your friends. If you have a pastor, that's always a good way to turn as a Lord. But, as far as fire and rescue and police and stuff, we have services in the county that we can offer. You come to Gretna, I've got a chaplain. He's a preacher at Zion Chapel Church, and he's great. He's a younger guy. He's doing fire and rescue as well. He's a good mentor, and we've put it in our budget as well as some of the other departments to have a mental health program to offer money to send people to services if they need counseling. It's okay to say that you have a problem. That's okay. So just wanted to put that out there. Second thing is the Blair's class for May Day. I was asked to put this out there because I think they have 12 or 13 students and they need 24. There is a May Day class going on Chief Fowler, you help me if I say this wrong. Let's see, Austin said it's the, was it 13th and 14th? And then the 20th and 21st is the dates. So it'd be 13th and 14th of September, and then 20th and 21st at Blair's Fire Department. And that's for May Day, Firefighter Down. Really good class, really needed class. So if anybody on here, I know a lot of you run with departments or part of the command staff, please take that back to your departments. And also, while I'm talking about training, the Public Safety made a new Facebook page just for training. And I highly recommend all of you, the commissioners, go follow that page so you can kind of keep up with what training's going on, and also take it back to your stations. Let your stations know that, hey, you can follow this page and see what training's going on. Again, thank you to the instructors and everybody that helped make those classes possible. I think that was tremendous, and I want to thank the folks that behind the scenes, the dispatchers. Sometimes I miss them, and I've talked to Ronnie before, and he gets on me, and he's right. Those dispatchers, they answer the call from the very beginning, and without them, they're our lifeline. And so sometimes they get forgot about, but they're a true first responder. They are the first line of defense. And so I appreciate our dispatchers and all they do. Thank y'all for sticking in there tonight. Meeting adjourned.